Congratulations! I passed. And so did you, probably, if you're watching this video right now. So what do I mean by we passed? Well, there's a certain energy that is present when we pass a very difficult challenge. It's a feeling of completion, of having done something that's very worthwhile doing, something that was challenging to us, something that not many people sign up to go through, precisely because it's challenging and because it's difficult. Think back to a time in your life in which you had some sort of test or examination that was coming up. Most likely this was in school. And think about how you felt leading up to that test. You were probably nervous. You were probably very anxious. And your brain is probably going 100 miles an hour, thinking of all the possible scenarios and outcomes. And what if I fail? Or what if I get this wrong? Or what if this shows up and I didn't study for it? And all these things that are in your mind, which we attribute to one emotion, and we call it worry. We're worried for what has not happened yet. We're worried because the examination is, let's say, a few days away or a few weeks away, and we're not there yet. We are in the present moment, preparing for something in the future moment. And if you're like me and you're a worrier and you like to plan ahead, you'll probably realize that in 90% of the situations in which your brain starts worrying about something, it actually never comes true. Recently, I had an art fair that I attended, in which I was there as a vendor and I was going to sell some of my posters. So for those of you who don't know, I do art now. I became an artist, and that's just something of a hobby of mine. So yay. Anyway, there's an art fair, and so the art fair was a few days away. It was, I believe it was last Saturday. So the whole week before that, from Monday to Friday, I was basically freaking out saying, I need, cardboard tubes to put my posters in. Okay, but what if they want to pay another way, right? What if they want to pay a credit card instead of cash? Do I need a credit terminal? And and the fair was outdoors, so I'm just like, okay, am I going to be okay in the sun? Do I need an umbrella? And so all these things started coming up. My brain was trying to plan for something that hasn't happened yet. And so the entire week I was extremely stressed because my brain wouldn't shut up, and that's normal. And it hit a point where I realized I'm doing all of this planning and I don't actually know what's going to happen. So what I eventually did, because I couldn't keep it up, I knew that if I kept racking my brain trying to figure out the future, it would explode. I just said, okay, I'm going to do these 3 things last. I'm going to do these 3 things and I'm going to put it down. I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to prepare as much as I can, and then whatever happens, happens. Whether or not I pass, whether or not I fail, whether or not I make a sale, whether I don't. Because those are things that are out of our control. And so what we need to do is prepare for the things that are within our control. And everything else we leave up to God, or we leave up to the universe, or we leave up to our spirit guides. We relinquish the desire to control. And that is very difficult, as you may know. And if you have this thing where you're trying to control situations, it's probably because you have some sort of fear of something bad happening, most likely in your childhood or in your past, in which you weren't able to control something. You weren't able to control a situation, and the situation produced a negative outcome for you. And so you spend basically your entire adulthood and the rest of your life trying to plan and control things that are out of your control. And yes, if that sounds like a contradiction to you, that's because it is. You can't control something that's out of your control. You can't control traffic. There are hundreds of other drivers on the road. You can only control yourself. You can only control your own vehicle. And so that's why it's important to take a step back sometimes and ask yourself, okay, am I worrying about something that I don't have control over? And if you are, then you need to focus on the energy of completion, which is what I was speaking about at the beginning of this video. So what do I mean by the energy completion? Which is, again, you're facing this challenge that you have no control over. You're trying to plan for it. Once you're done planning and doing everything that you can, you then focus on what it is that has been completed, not that which has not yet been completed. So at the beginning of this video, I said, congratulations, I passed, and so did you, if you're watching this. Because the energy at this point in time, I don't know what the date is. I think it's near the end of June. June 28th, I think? Something like that. It's almost going to be July. But the energy that is now present and is going to move forward with us is that of, I completed something and now I should take a rest, a relaxation. I should celebrate. I went into the dark tunnel and I came out the other side and I made it in one piece. It's finally over. So what's finally over? The month of June is finally over. The challenges that you face in June are finally over. You passed the test. Congratulations. And I don't want to say you will never have to face those tests again. But most likely what's going to happen is that energy is going to come up again in the future. But because you passed the test, you went through June, it's easier for you to recognize that energy in the future and then have a more appropriate response to it. So when I was in university, it's a 5-year program or 4-year program. So basically every month of classes you would have an examination. So it could be like the midterm exam, and then midterm exam number 2, and then final exam. So for the first exam that I ever had when I was in university, I was nervous as hell, and so was everyone else, right? But then by year 2 or year 3, I had already taken many examinations. I was used to how it felt. And so in my classes, when I would look around at the other students before the exam began, and we're all sitting at a table, I noticed that a lot of them had this really nervous energy to them. Like they're worried. They had a test right, and I was there. I was super calm, collected, confident. Maybe not confident. I was calm and collected. I was neutral about the exam. I wasn't worrying about an outcome. And truth be told, I didn't actually prepare that much for those exams because those exams were based in computer science. And so with computer science, you don't really study. It's just you do assignments, and it's either you understand the material or you don't. Because if you don't understand the material, you won't be able to do the assignments, which is like coding programs. And so because I had completed the assignments, I kind of had confidence that, okay, I know my stuff. So the exam is much more easy compared to the assignments. So I wasn't nervous about the exam because I was just like, well, the assignments are more difficult and the exams are actually pretty easy, so this will be a walk in the park. But then other students around me didn't have that same mindset. They were worried and they were nervous. So maybe it was because I had the perspective of, I have already done something that's more difficult than what it is I'm about to face. So there's no need for me to be nervous. In fact, I could be celebrating. I could be grateful. I could be in the energy of, this isn't something to worry about. This is, something I've already done, I've already completed, I've already passed. It's like going back to school when you're an adult, going back to elementary school. Are you going to worry about, grade 5, the assignments and the tests that you have in grade 5? No. As an adult, you can handle them. No problem. But to a kid who's in grade 5 and he's got tests and exams, he's going to start worrying. That's the difference in your energy. One worries because he hasn't yet done it. And one is calm because he already knows he's done it and can pass it with no problems. I'll give one more example and then I'll close out this video. But I don't know his name. I think it was John Jones, but he's an MMA fighter. But basically there was an MMA fighter. He said before the night of a fight, what he'll do is he'll go out and drink and get hammered. And then he'll show up the next morning for the fight while he's still, kind of slightly drunk and slightly inebriated. And he said the reason why I do that is because it takes away the nerves. So if I lose a fight, then I can blame it on the alcohol that I had last night. So it's like a way out for him. And that way he doesn't get nervous before a fight. So it's kind of like an excuse that you can use to give you a reason as to why you failed. We're hard on ourselves because we don't have a reason for our failure or for why we're not measuring up to certain expectations, either imposed on us from society or from our parents or from our own personal inner voice. So if you're feeling that way, then maybe you need to prepare less. Maybe you just need to actually do something that will hinder your progress, hinder your preparation. Like going out to a party just before a wedding or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's basically the energy that I've been sensing. And I sensed it last night. That's why I wanted to make a video today, which is completion. The present moment that we're in now, if you're watching this video, is that you passed the test. Congratulations. How do you feel? Tune into that energy. Let it guide you to the next thing. You no longer have to worry. You no longer have to be in the energy of, I'm not enough and I'm working towards something. You're now in the energy of, you have made it. Now it's time for you to enjoy your life. You don't have to work towards anything. You've already earned it. What are you going to do now? Hope this video resonates with all of you. Peace and love to you all. Have a wonderful rest of your month, and may July bring more blessings than we can anticipate.